Welcome to the Good for Others show. I'm your host, John Valencia with the Good for Others Foundation, and today I am with our fabulous guest, Eva Matthews. Eva is an inspiring advocate for public health transformation. Eva has dedicated her career for caring for and advancing community health. As CEO of Mama's Kitchen, she brings over 25 years of public health, nonprofit development, and research experience to the organization. Prior to joining Mama's Kitchen, Eva served as Director of Grants Management at one of the country's largest federally qualified health centers, Family Health Centers of San Diego. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, John.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thanks.
In Eva's role as CEO, she builds and leverages key community, governmental, university, health plan, foundation, and donor partnerships to support the mission of Mama's Kitchen and drive their vision for the future. We're so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
For what you do.
Thank you.
All right, to kick off today's show, we're going to play a quick little game. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Oh my gosh, both right now. I just switched to tea from coffee 2 days ago.
I love that. I'm an iced
But I
tea guy. Definitely love my iced tea. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Oh,
Sure.
nice. Winter or summer?
I love both in San Diego. You really can't go wrong with either, but I'm going to go with summer.
Great. City life or country life?
City life.
Nice. Book or movie?
Book.
Reality TV or scripted TV?
Scripted. I'm going to go scripted.
And if you could swap lives with a celebrity for a day, who would it be?
That is a tough one. I don't know. I'm stumped on that one.
That's all right. And how about on a more serious note, what or who inspires you? Who?
I've been inspired by so many people throughout my career. I've been incredibly fortunate, actually, to be led by really strong women. I think the first person that I ever worked for was just, I think, the second full professor of psychiatry at Yale University.
Wow.
And she's someone who really inspired me. She's someone who also helped me settle myself when I was really nervous about things. She had a lot of really wonderful advice, but she was brilliant as well. But over the years, I've just found that in each position that I've been in, there have been people who are so generous of spirit, of heart, of intellect. And so that's the kind of person that I'd like to be as well.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about how your career got you to where you're at.
Oh, I took a really circuitous route. I had planned to go into psychology and really wanted to do that. And when I didn't succeed in that endeavor, I decided to pivot a little bit. I took some time off and I did work at Yale University for a few years and got really interested in addiction and understanding really the mechanisms at work in nicotine and alcohol dependence. And so then I thought, well, these are huge public health issues and maybe that's the direction I need to go into. And so I did that and I started working, I went to the University of Arizona for my master's degree. And I started working with a team who were studying adolescent tobacco addiction. And that was fascinating to me. And I continued on that journey and then started to branch out into other areas of health behavior change, because it is in that health behavior change that we can really prevent a lot of chronic and critical illness. So that took me, into an academic career for a long time. And then when we moved to San Diego, I was just impressed and inspired by the nonprofit community here, and in particular the nonprofit community clinic systems. And when I had the opportunity to move into that work at Family Health Centers of San Diego, I jumped at the opportunity. And then after about 9.5 years, where I was really starting to see how, one person can make a difference, and a team can really make a difference, and then the community as a whole can make a difference. This opportunity came with Mama's Kitchen, and the two organizations had been partnering for decades. So I knew of the good work that Mama's Kitchen was doing, and I had a personal connection also that inspired me at the moment to consider applying for the CEO role. And I didn't think that I would be so lucky to receive it, but here I am.
That's amazing. It's a great segue into tell everyone a little bit about Mama's Kitchen.
So Mama's Kitchen was founded in 1990. So think back, it's the height of the AIDS epidemic. And a group of community members saw and recognized that their neighbors were vulnerable, not just because of illness, but because of isolation and stigma. And they felt called to act. They wanted to make a difference in the lives of their neighbors and their friends. So they started delivering Mama's Kitchen's first comforting meals. And I'm not sure that they could have realized that 34 years later, more than 12 million meals later, Mama's Kitchen has become the largest nonprofit provider of home-delivered meals in San Diego, and the only provider of medically tailored meals, scratch-made, right here in San Diego in our entire region.
Amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's huge.
It is huge. This year we're on track to serve over 980,000 meals.
That gives me chills.
I know.
That's so exciting.
Yes, we're really excited. We couldn't do that work without the amazing staff that we have, the 850 volunteers who are hard at work.
850.
Yes, they are helping us in the kitchen. They are driving delivery routes. They are making calls to clients. They are really our heart and soul.
Wow. So tell us more. Like, if someone is listening and wants to volunteer, what kind of volunteer opportunities do you have?
We have a lot of different types of opportunities. So, as I left the office today, I met a new volunteer, Maya, who is doing our front desk work. So she's answering phones and she's connecting people to the departments they need to be connected with. We have volunteers in the kitchen today who are helping with meal plating and getting bags staged and ready, and they'll be bundling meals together, and they're actually the ones who, as they're doing it, they're thinking about what improvements can we make, and they share all of that. So volunteers are not just doing a job, they're really part of our operation. And then very importantly, we have about 70 delivery routes across San Diego.
70. 70. Wow.
70.
Just a few.
And so our volunteer drivers are absolutely critical, and we really need them. So that's one area in particular, especially as we come up on the holidays. We would welcome more volunteers, and we have lots of information at mamaskitchen.org for anyone who would like to get signed up for that.
That's amazing. Now, what does a time commitment for like a volunteer for your organization look like?
Well, we have, unlike some organizations where you must commit to a certain number of hours over a certain period, we do have really excellent flexibility. We do have some individuals who are called route adopters. So they might decide that they want to every Tuesday and every Friday see the same clients, and they choose a route to do that with, which is really special. So if they're doing that, usually we have about 3-hour windows for each of those activities. But it will range between 2 and 3 hours-ish for each volunteer stint.
That's amazing. And I imagine these volunteers are, signing up to do something good, but it becomes so much more meaningful for them, right? Meeting some of these individuals who are maybe not seeing many humans in a week, right?
Right.
This is kind of the person that they're excited to see and say hello to and feel
That's right.
validated and respected, right?
Absolutely. They're each other's person. When we have, I heard a beautiful story this weekend. One of our board members, who is also a volunteer, has been delivering her adopted route on Tuesdays and Fridays. And she has a client who recently graduated from our program. And, he was sharing that every time she would come to the door, she would say, "What are you up to today?" Or "What are you up to this weekend?" And it wasn't just a "here's your food" transactional kind of moment. It is really a connection, a way to touch base and feel like you are part of each other's lives. And I think that is really meaningful, and I think that is going to stay with our client for a long time and with our volunteer.
Wow. When you talk about these medically tailored meals, what does that mean?
Yeah. So medically tailored meals are prepared in such a way that they are responsive to the nutritional needs of specific diagnoses. So Mama's Kitchen, a number of years ago, brought on registered dietitians into our operation, which is really critical. And so we began our work with HIV, but then expanded to serve clients with cancer, congestive heart failure, type 2 diabetes, and chronic kidney disease. So I'll use chronic kidney disease as an example because it is probably one of the more complicated conditions to manage with nutrition, because in the earlier stages of chronic kidney disease, you need to have lower protein, low potassium, low phosphorus. And then once you are in the very later stages of kidney disease, that changes and you suddenly need a much higher level of protein, for example. So our registered dietitians are, in close contact with the healthcare provider for our clients, and will be able to determine where the changes need to happen. And on the kitchen side of things, we will have, a particular recipe that is meant for one condition. Then we have maybe 7 variations of that to make sure that it's adapted for each type of condition that we serve.
Interesting.
It's complicated, and I am so grateful that our staff, our chief food services officer, and our registered dietitians work together so beautifully, because we make delicious food that people want to eat, but that meets those nutritional requirements.
What is the favorite meal that you make?
Well, I know the answer to this because at an event we had this weekend, we had trivia, and our client's favorite meal is the meatloaf and potatoes. And yes, it is
The meatloaf.
fabulous. But the variety of foods that we have are really tremendous. I love that we are bringing in more than 2,500 pounds of fresh produce every week and preparing it beautifully. It's, roasted vegetables coming out of the oven, beautiful, meats and fish and all sorts of things. And it's all freshly prepared.
So tell us about this kitchen. Where is the kitchen? Where is Mama's Kitchen?
Mama's Kitchen is on Home Avenue, of all places. Yes, 3960 Home Avenue. And we are in a building that it's about 10,000 square feet. Wow. But the kitchen itself is really just a smaller part of that. And we are putting out over 900,000 meals a year from that space. It's phenomenal. And I'm really impressed because we are making tiny changes along the way to add capacity, because we are getting close to that upper limit of what we can do in that space. Just 4 years ago, the volume of our clients was 1/3 where we are today. We have grown that much. We've tripled in size, in part because of the tremendous need that the pandemic revealed in our community. So what we know now, though, is that we can pivot, we can move quickly to address the needs that are out there, but we do need the capacity to do that. And so we are looking at how we might, sustainably grow moving forward.
How big is your staff right now?
We have 47 staff at the moment, and we have highly specialized staff members, and then we have also this, just very supportive, collaborative environment. So people are jumping in to help one another whenever we need to.
That's great. With their Good for Others Foundation, we have our training program to get people into the nonprofit space, and then obviously trying to upskill some of the individuals who are currently working in that. So I'm always interested in finding out, what kind of hiring needs do you foresee your organization, say, in the next 6 or 12 months?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you guys?
We are growing, I would say, almost in every area, as we need to. So as I said, we're trying to do this in a sustainable fashion. But what I am seeing is, our workforce who participates in delivery, the work that they're doing there is incredibly important. And we are finding that we do need to have a stable, solid, driving workforce. But a lot of those staff also want to be doing some other aspects of the organizational work. And so I like to see that there are opportunities to grow and to add some skills and experience in some of the client-facing activities that might be a little bit different. And so that's one of the areas that I definitely see growing. We also, in our registered dietitian area, we are always needing to make sure that we are meeting the needs of clients. So whether that's linguistic capabilities or, coming from different perspectives on cultural tailoring of diets, all of those things are important.
If someone were to want to be a registered dietitian, what kind of career path does that look like?
It's actually, I think it's become more complex more recently because I think that the requirements have been elevated over time. So I can't give you the in-depth details on the career path, but what I do know is that representation, racial and ethnic representation in the registered dietitian field is not where it needs to be. And so, we've had some conversation about how we at Mama's Kitchen can be part of the experience that might be necessary for those who are, interns, the dietetic interns, for example, being able to come and work with us and see what it feels like to be working with underserved communities, which is really vitally important.
Yeah, that's... You would never know, right? Some of these nonprofits have very specialized skills for talent and roles. And then, it's also, we run organizations. And I think a lot of folks forget that we are also businesses, right? Yeah. And we have HR needs and we have finance and marketing. So it's not necessarily kitchen-related jobs that you always offer. Yes, you do that. And, right, we have lots of other opportunities just running your business and your organization as a whole.
Yes, because we have in our administrative end of things, we are certainly looking at, there's the development team, the marketing team, social media, and absolutely finance. Finance is a hugely important area, and yet this is, in San Diego, we have a lot of nonprofits. There's a lot of demand. And so we are always looking for that type of support as well.
One of the kind of common themes we have when we're chatting with nonprofit organizations here in San Diego specifically is that really the need for collaboration and partnership.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit of kind of some of the maybe unique or hopefully innovative things that you're at least trying to do compared to some other organizations in your field.
So we have over 400 partners in the community right now, and they really span healthcare, health plan, social services, all kinds of partnerships. We also partner with non-traditional, at least what we would think of as non-traditional partners. So other nonprofits who serve the same community that we do, but maybe they're serving in a different way, and we can see how a common need binds us. We know that our clients might face isolation, so we can do what we do and perhaps recognize need and then connect to another nonprofit where a client can benefit. One of the things that we're really proud of is over the past year, Mama's Kitchen endeavored to go through a very rigorous external evaluation of our services and our quality so that we ultimately would become, in April of this year, the first to receive accreditation. Yes, we the Food is Medicine Coalition accreditation as a medically tailored meal provider. So first in California, only second in the nation to receive this accreditation. And that has really helped me to convey to our partners and our clients and the community that we are a trusted resource, that all of our processes have been evaluated against a set of standards. And those standards aren't just the food quality, the food safety, all of those things that we know are so vitally important. It also includes things like the extent to which we include volunteers in our operation and the extent to which we are paying attention to the voice of the client in the work that we do. So all of that is sort of blended together and to demonstrate just our commitment to our clients.
First off, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations to that.
Thank
Second
you.
of all, congratulations to that. That is huge.
Thank you.
Wow.
We are so proud. And it has been an incredible opportunity for me to bring that to new partners, to say, you can count on us. Mm-hmm. This is what our level of commitment looks like. So now we're looking at how we can partner with, area universities as well. We know that as the Food is Medicine movement is growing nationally, there is evidence to support that medically tailored meals reduces the cost of medical care. However, there's a lot more to be done. And so Mama's Kitchen, because we've been doing this for over 34 years, and we were actually part of a lot of that foundational research to generate the evidence to get us where we are today in the field. We're excited to be part of that next level of collaborative research with our area universities and with others outside of San Diego as well.
Amazing. Again,
thank you.
I love that because you're truly creating the model, and you are at the forefront of creating the model of what will be that will outlive all of us, right? And how neat to be at the beginning of that, being such a trusted entity, having been part of all of that research, and here you are as the ultimate role model for how to do this and how to do this very well.
We thank you for saying that. We feel really fortunate. I am exceptionally fortunate that I came to Mama's Kitchen in January of 2024, and my predecessor, who was with the organization for 21 years before that, really had vision, really could see how this organization would fit into the bigger picture of food as medicine in this country. And Mama's Kitchen was one of the founding members of the National Food as Medicine Coalition and the California Food as Medicine Coalition as well. So that is both of these organizations are a consortium of medically tailored meal providers like Mama's Kitchen. We're not affiliated financially or in a business sense, but we are sharing best practices. We are sharing lessons learned, and we're also looking at where we need to be in terms of policy positions, working together to advocate for the importance of medically tailored meals for healthcare, and also making sure that we're also positioning ourselves in a way that we are staying true to those standards that we've set, and we're staying embedded in community, because that is absolutely vital to the success of programs like ours, is actually being part of the community, making sure that we are including local food sources, that we are employing locally, that we are really part of the fabric of our communities.
How was it when your transition came in? You came in January.
Yes.
Right. So you had this legendary leader with vision and innovation, and then you show up. How was that? I mean, that must have been kind of scary, exciting. Like, how did you jump into that? I'm sure people listening who are, as we're moving up through our different organizations and moving from one organization to the other and trying to step in to fill some shoes. How did you do it? And clearly you've been doing it well, but tell us how you did it.
It was scary. It was exciting. It was all of those things. I was very fortunate to have at least a couple of weeks overlapping, which was not nearly enough, but some time overlapping with my predecessor. And we even had an opportunity to deliver meals together, and that was fabulous because it was like a 2.5 hour meeting, but also these wonderful interactions. My first exposure to our clients firsthand delivering meals was with him, and that was very special. And I'll never forget one client, as I'm approaching his doorway, he's coming out and he's saying, "Well, you're new." And he said, "Well, I need to tell you all about how Mama's Kitchen has changed my life." He said, "I've lost over 100 pounds. My A1C went from 16 to 6, and all of my other conditions are under control, and I'm taking less medication." And he said, "And that's all because of Mama's Kitchen meals." And I said, "That's fabulous." He said, my doctor even said to me, "How are you doing this?" Wow. And the client said to his doctor, "Well, you told me that I should be having Mama's Kitchen meals, so I just followed your instructions." So it was really special. So that was a great introduction to the organization. And then I wanted to meet every single person. So I set up time to talk with every team member in the organization just to hear about what their fears might have been, what their hopes were for the organization. And I needed to hear the good, the not so good, everything in between, so that we could be working together for the future of Mama's Kitchen. And the team has been absolutely incredible. They know what they're doing, so it's just a privilege to be working amongst them. But I think they're really open to new ideas. They're open to being collaborative as we envision what the future of the organization looks like.
How do you try to retain your employees? There's 12,000 nonprofits in San Diego. Yep. We know that sometimes there's upwards of 10,000 open positions just in our region because people are moving around so often. That's a challenge that our industry faces. how do you try to retain, or at least, obviously it's okay when people leave, but we want to make sure that, they're staying for the right reasons. What's kind of some of your
Yeah.
culture that you've created that you try to retain some staff?
I think that it's very important to listen. So whether it is, a supervisor listening to their employee or colleagues listening to each other, leadership needs to be listening to everyone. In some fashion or another, we need to be hearing what the needs are. We need to be hearing where the struggles are, because in my mind, part of retention is really making sure that people feel supported in their roles. And I think it's very important that we're creating a very welcoming space, even when the information that's being elevated may not be all rosy all the time. We need to be able to hear all of the feedback. So that's part of it. I think making sure also that people are understanding that while they're passionate about the mission, that we also care about their wellness, and we care about them being healthy in their own right. And, when they need to set boundaries, that we're able to help them to do that. I will also say professional development is important, and being able to move. We're a small organization in the grand scheme of things. So finding ways to incorporate professional development, whether it is career progression or whether it is enrichment within the role that the staff are in, those things are really important, I think, to our organization. And we do see a lot of promotion within the organization. I, of course, want to retain everyone within the organization. And at the same time, I recognize that growth is important. And so I do want the team members to know that I will support them in their journey. And my hope is that they stay with us in that journey, but I don't think that they necessarily worry that there will be negative consequences to them having big dreams.
Yeah.
They should be supported in that.
What are some of your big dreams then?
My big dreams. I am excited about the future of this organization. I am, while I don't love that there is so much need in this community and beyond. What I love is that we are able to work with partners who care so very deeply as much as we do, and we are trying to find ways to grow to meet that need. As I said earlier, it has to be done in a really mindful, thoughtful way so that we, that we're able to fulfill our mission. We deliver breakfast, lunch, dinner, healthy snacks without any cost to our clients and their dependent children every day of the year. So we deliver twice a week so that we're giving them, time in other parts of the week where they can go to their medical appointments. But we're doing all of this at a volume that is really quite high. We know that we're going to need to take some steps in the not too distant future to prepare ourselves for even bigger growth. But for now, we really need to strengthen our foundation.
Now, obviously, you're doing some magical work. Definitely feels that way. Chills. It's exciting. I always love our chats. So, for those who are listening, what are some? You said you've got some needs for drivers, and what else could they, if they're thinking now, wow, they're getting all these meals and they're doing this stuff, and you're building a connection with some of these clients. What are some? How could someone engage with you as being a volunteer? What would be the easiest way for them to learn about opportunities and start that journey with you?
So to get started with volunteering at Mama's Kitchen is very easy. We have all of our volunteer information online at mamaskitchen.org. And then we have volunteer orientations. There's an application process that is quite streamlined, and then we have an orientation, and then you're ready to roll. And we do try to pair people with the types of activities that they find most interesting or fulfilling.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like what's an example of that?
So we have some folks who have backgrounds perhaps in healthcare, and they kind of understand the client interactions. They understand also privacy and things like this. So they might be really interested in working on client-specific things, maybe enrolling them into, for appointments and things like that. They can actually participate in some of those things. We've got some folks who they don't necessarily want to be face-to-face with anyone, but they want to be part of the operation. Maybe they want to be doing some data entry. There are many who want to just be in the thick of the kitchen, and we love that. We've got this beautiful tray sealing machine, and we've got volunteers on either side plating meals, and it is a social it's a social experience, and people love it. So it really just depends on whether you're looking for a social activity or something that is perhaps a little bit quieter and on your own. We have everything. We have all those options.
I can only imagine, as you say, the tray machine. What did you call it?
Oh, a tray sealing machine. We actually call it the Ferrari of tray sealing machines. It did come from Italy. It is gorgeous, and it reduced our meal preparation time from like 2.5 hours to 1 hour.
Wow.
Plating an entree. So that just changes the calculus of what can be done in a day when we've got.
I need to see this operation.
Oh, yes,
it just
please.
Sounds. Do you ever have people who just come by and want to learn about it?
We do. We have, sometimes we'll host visits. We'll have, sometimes we'll have supporters who want to come and have lunch. It's a great way for people to see. It's really the best way for people to see the operation, because it is very impressive to see, the 900 delivery bags staged and ready to go as the volunteers are, circulating around and getting everything prepared. It's just, it's
my
pretty
brain
magical.
Can't fathom it. Like in my mind, I imagine, this cool facility and this cool machine sealing all the meals. But what a cool opportunity for volunteers to then really be in the midst of all of that, to say, wow, this is going somewhere, and look how good this meatloaf looks,
Well, and they're truly, as they're standing, let's say in line, in their assembly line of our dry bags, for example, and they're pulling fruit in, and they look at it, and if there's a banana that doesn't look beautiful, it might maybe too many brown spots, they pull that out because it's not good enough for their clients. They really own what they're doing, and they feel really passionately about it. I've got volunteers. We have volunteers who've been there longer than my predecessor was there. So, and they're multiple generations volunteering together, and it's really, really special.
Well, this is wonderful. Thank you for being here. Before we wrap up, we have a final segment that we like to do that we call 3 Wishes. So let's imagine that there's a genie here before you.
Yes.
And this genie is going to grant you 3 wishes. And they could be personal or about your work and the endeavors that you have underway. But what would be your first wish?
My first wish is, fundamentally, I would love for our community members who are struggling with critical illnesses to feel greater release, to find wellness. And I think that we do that every day with the work that we do. I just want to be doing more of that, So my wish is to be able to continue to do what Mama's Kitchen does so well.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. And what would your second wish be?
Second wish, well, this is a silly wish, but I really hope one of my wishes for pie is that when I check the box for mystery pie, I get a cherry pie. My favorite.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cherry pie is the best. And your third wish? What would
My
that be?
third wish. So my third wish is about the future.
Mhm.
I do wish for a big, beautiful space that will be our next home in the future, where we're able to serve many more individuals in San Diego who are living with critical illness.
How big would a facility be? I think you said it's 10,000 that you're in
Right now, we're in a facility that's about 10,000 square feet. So my
So
hope
if
would
you
be,
had 20, 30, how big?
we're currently looking at what the scope would need to be as we move forward. So my hope is that in the next number of months, or a little more than that, that we will have something that is scoped out and ready to think about the next steps. But in the interim, we have plenty of work to keep us busy.
Well, that's good. So those who are listening and watching, go to your website. There's obviously lots of need for you, especially if we could fulfill your third wish. That would be really amazing to bring in enough dollars to
Yes.
support the growth and expansion, especially to a new facility, to really meet
Yeah.
the growing need for San Diego, right?
Yeah. We have lots of ways to do that. I know sometimes people would like to make a one-time donation, and we of course welcome that. Others would prefer to make a lasting impact, and they join our Bread and Butter Club, which is a monthly contribution program. And we even have a really robust legacy club for those who want to think about, a lifetime giving. And so there are many, many ways to get involved, whether it's through financial support or volunteerism, but we really welcome the San Diego community to get more involved with Mama's Kitchen.
Well, that's great. Well, why don't you give a shout out? Tell people exactly where to go. Tell your website one more time, because it's easiest
Yes.
for people to remember.
Yes. So either to donate or to volunteer, all you have to do is just go to mamaskitchen.org, and everything you need is there.
Well, Eva, thank you so much. If no one has told you lately, thank you for your service. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your leadership with Mama's Kitchen. I'm very just honored to be your friend and colleague and to know you, because I feel that your leadership in this space is unbound, and you are off to great endeavors. And I think your vision for the organization is exactly what it needs. And I'm so grateful that you are supporting so many lives every single day.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you so much for your support and the support of Good for Others. It's a very exciting time.
Well, thank you so much for those who are tuning into today's show. I'm just super grateful that Eva, you spent some time with us to tell us a little bit about what Mama's Kitchen is doing and how we can get involved. And so please do. For those who are interested in just getting involved in the nonprofit space and looking for a career change, as we were mentioning, there's lots of opportunity to get a job that leads to family-sustaining wages in the nonprofit sector. Please go to goodforothers.org to learn how you and your family or friends could join our training program and have an amazing career like Eva here is doing with all of her amazing individuals working at Mama's Kitchen. So thank you, everyone, and stay tuned for our next episode. We're really excited to share more in the nonprofit space and how you can get involved in transforming the lives of yourselves and those that you live with in your community.